So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our final big session for the 2024 NAMI New Hampshire Annual Conference. Thank you for sticking with us through today. It's been a fabulous day, and we have a really fun event for you to end our day about talking about cultivating hope and celebrating our everyday heroes. NAMI New Hampshire is a grassroots organization that provides support, education, and advocacy to individuals and their families impacted by mental illness and suicide in the Granite State. We do this by offering a variety of programs, events, including today's conference. I'm Michelle Watson. You may have seen me throughout the day, as well as my co-host, Karen Prive. We've had an amazing committee of staff and volunteers who we wanted to recognize for all their valuable contributions to this conference. Today's presentations are in Zoom webinar. There is not an option for you to turn on your camera or your microphone, but we do welcome questions in the Q&A, and we will do our best to get to them all. So please put them in. And we've also turned off the chat feature so it can be distracting, but if you will have something you'd like to just say to one of our panelists, please just put that in the Q&A as well. We'd like to express our thanks to the sponsors who helped make today's conference available free of charge. Thank you to the New Hampshire Community Behavioral Health Association for sponsoring this session and for their continued support of NAMI New Hampshire programs. So now I'd like to introduce Kristen Welch. I'm slurring all my words at this point. NAMI New Hampshire's Director of Development, to introduce our next presentation. Go ahead, Kristen.
Thank you, Michelle, and welcome everyone. I hope you've been having a wonderful conference day. I've heard from a lot of people about how inspired they've been by today. So just kudos to all of the conference organizers who put together these amazing sessions. And I'm really thrilled that we are ending the day with the Highs and Lows Tour. One of the best parts of my job is that I really have the opportunity to meet and get to know amazing people in our community who are doing incredible things to make a difference for Granite Staters who are affected by mental illness and suicide. And the three folks you're about to hear from are, truly amazing. I met them back in 2022 when they first started this event. They have grown it by leaps and bounds since then, and you're going to hear a lot more about that. So I'm not going to steal any of their thunder. They're going to talk all about that, but truly just a wonderful group of people that I am so privileged and honored to know and get to work with and spend time with and be a part of this event. NAMI New Hampshire is very grateful to them for raising awareness and raising funds to help support our programs and services. So it is truly my pleasure to introduce Tom Dearborn, Eric Skinner, and Rob Katz, who are going to tell you about the Highs and Lows Tour.
Thank you very much, Michelle and Kristen, for the kind. Are you able to see the slides? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and begin. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tom Dearborn, and I have the privilege of being the chairperson for the Highs and Lows Tour. And on behalf of the team, I just want to extend our sincere gratitude for everybody at NAMI New Hampshire for all the great work that they do. It was only recently that I actually found out that one of my sisters takes advantage of a support group that NAMI offers. So we're really thrilled to be able to support NAMI, and it's a real honor to be able to talk to you today about what we're trying to do to support better mental health in the Granite State. So what we're going to do is we are going to start with a video to give you all kind of a flavor for what this event is like. It's a 4-minute video, and it will kind of show you what like the pre-event looks like. It gives you all sorts of images of people out on the road riding and some of the breaks. And so we hope it gives you a sense of what it's like to be there with us on this very special day.
How have things been? Well, love, now that you mention it, my folks still talk, they speak in these 2-word sentences. I'm saying too much, but you know how it gets out here. No winter cold could keep out all the cold of your atmosphere. We once sang retrograde, we'd shake the frame of your car. Now I know your name, but not who you are. It's all okay, there ain't a drop of bad blood. It's all my love, you got all my love. I'm still out here with the pills and the dogs. If you need me, dear, I'm the same as I was. It's all okay, there ain't a drop of bad blood. It's all my love, you got all my love. You got all my love. Write me a list of how it is, of how it was, of how it has to be. You burrowed in under my skin, what I'd give to have you out from me. I still recall how the leather in your car feels. And at the end of it all, I just hope that your scars heal. We once sang retrograde, we'd shake the frame of your car. Now I know your name, with all you are. It's all okay, there ain't a drop of bad blood. It's all my love, you got all my love. I'm still out here with the pills and the dogs. If you need me, dear, I'm the same as I was. It's all okay, there ain't a drop of bad blood. It's all my love, you got all my love. You got all my love. Well, I leaned in for a kiss 30 feet from where your parents slept. And I looked so confident, babe, I swear I was scared to death.
All right.
My hands gripped the wheel, I smiled stupid the whole way home. Well, those 5 words in my head, you said I'll never let you go. I sang retrograde, we'd shake the frame of your car. Now I know your name, but not who you are. It's all okay, there ain't a drop of bad blood. It's all my love, you got all my love. And it's still out here with the pills and the dogs. Until this year stole the words from my tongue. It's all okay, there ain't a drop of bad blood. It's all my love, you got all my love. 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 You got all.
So I hope that you enjoyed that video. I can't stop smiling, whenever I see it. And I always thank Kyle McPhee for making it for us. I think he did a great job. As you can see, we have a lot of fun. This is a very, very serious topic, but we have a lot of fun with this event. And so the reasons why we ride, I want to give you a little overview of is, if you ask anybody on our team, our focus is really on producing a high quality event where friends and family can get together and do something that's fun and healthy. Riding bikes I think it's great for your mental health. I always feel better when I get off my bike. I try to do it earlier in the day so I can feel better longer throughout the day. And we've got 3 key objectives. We want to raise awareness of mental illness and suicide. We want to destigmatize mental illness. And then we also want to raise funds for NAMI New Hampshire. So 3 really important things. So the image that you see in front of you there is taken from the Mount Cube Farm, which is at Orford. That's kind of like the height of land that day. We've got a great view of Moosilauke from there. Really, really beautiful section of the ride. One thing you'll also notice is that in this photo, it's almost all males. We've got 3 rides, and this one is a century ride. And it dawned on me that women are obviously too smart to ride 100 miles because we only got a few of them to ride on this one. But if you saw in the video and you see in other images, we are pretty evenly matched among the sexes. The women just tended to migrate to the 43 and the 26-mile ride. But this was you know, a great place to stop and enjoy each other's company and get a nice view. So in terms of governance, so we are currently an LLC, but we're going to have nonprofit status by the end of this year. So we essentially will have a board of directors that are responsible for the overall governance of our organization. And really the job is to make sure that we maintain fidelity to our mission, which I just talked to you about on this previous slide. The picture that you see here was at the end of day 3 on our first year. And the individuals that you see in front of you there had ridden 3 days and 300 miles. And the state police were with us and supported the event, and they supported us last year, and they're going to continue to support us this year. We've got a great partnership with them and really appreciate their support. Here we've got a picture of our team. We have really just a phenomenal team of individuals who feel really passionate about what we're trying to do here. Rob and Kyle and Patty have kind of been with us basically since the beginning, along with a couple of other people that continue to volunteer. And then everybody else has kind of come on since we started. So, you know, started with just a few people kind of doing a pilot. And now we've really got a well-oiled machine of people who are passionate about this, and also many times helping us out in the area that they've got core expertise. Like, for example, Kyle is a marketer. Mary Beth Bentwood is a marketer with public affairs and communication skills. Reagan is a social media professional. Don was a fire captain and a paramedic, and he's leading the way for being our chief safety officer. So we've got people that have a passion for the topic and some real expertise in the area that they're helping us out in, which can only mean, you know, good results. Most all of us have been affected in one way or another by mental illness or suicide. And so it feels like a calling for many of us. And we sometimes jest that when we get together and do our work, it's almost therapeutic to be together and working on this common community problem of mental illness and suicide. And one byproduct of coming together that I didn't really truly anticipate when we got started was some of the dialogue that this would generate. So, you know, everybody has their story, and I'm going to invite Rob Cass in a minute to share his. Now, I've known Rob since we were in high school together. He even came several years ago to Puerto Rico when my family and I were living there to do a triathlon. And there's like this huge part of his family history that I was unaware of, and that he and generally his siblings just really never talked about for decades. But just, you know, having dialogue about mental illness and suicide has brought up an opportunity for some really rich dialogue, and hopefully some really, you know, healing as well. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Rob to talk about his why behind why he's here with us at the Highs and Lows Tour.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. For those of you who don't know, my name is Rob Cass. I'm ironically the Chief Technology Officer who had the hardest time getting on just now. So I'm a childhood survivor of parental suicide. I've never admitted that in public before. So I've talked about it in small circles, but this is the first time publicly I've had this conversation. I've never uttered those words before today. I was 9 years old. If you can imagine, a few days before you went into 4th grade, that's where I was. A few days before 4th grade, found out that my mother was no longer on this planet. I'll never forget what it felt like to hear those words. It was a summer night in Yuma, Arizona, and physically, what it felt like somebody reached into me and pulled out my insides from my stomach. There's a hole that's never been filled. It's always there. My heart, I could hear my heart beating in my ears. My head was spinning. It was just spinning, but at the same time, I felt an explosion that I can only describe as my psyche just exploding. It was so unfathomable, so beyond anything I could imagine to hear. The worst I could imagine was that my mother was in a wheelchair. It was the worst thing I could imagine. And I found out I had already had my last conversation. I was disoriented. I was confused. Up till that point, I had a blissful life. My childhood was nothing but perfect. I loved my mother. I felt like I was the only child. And after that, there was a 47-year cycle of disorientation and confusion. And I repeated a cycle over and over and over again. And that was a cycle of bliss of my childhood in a really good place. And then it was torn down in moments. I have created those circumstances in my life, professionally, academically, spiritually, financially, and professionally, in every way you can imagine. I have created the circumstances to do really good things, only to self-sabotage for the last 47 years. And I didn't recognize the cycle while I was in it. That was 1977. There have been a few angels that have absolutely made an impact, even though some of them were smaller. There's 3 angels in particular. Some of you know Gail Wiltsey. She was the first. She was the first angel that I met who has made a profound impact on my life. Lucille Stubbs, and then a woman named Vicki Reno. They all impacted my life. They were there at the right time. So I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge them, because we never know who we're being an angel to. A couple of years ago, I ran across an organization and a man who was my neighbor. More importantly, he became my mentor, and he was the founder of an organization, a nonprofit called Ainsley's Angels. He's also a young lady's who passed away. Ainsley was her father. He formed an organization that I was a part of that taught me how to share my fitness. My fitness was a gift that I could share, and we've made that point, and he's helped me understand that. But he taught me a far bigger lesson. He's taken the greatest tragedy of his life and has turned it into 2 things that I couldn't wrap my head around. I just couldn't get my head around. Those 2 things are joy for other people and a blessing for other people. He took the tragedy of losing his daughter and has made it a blessing for hundreds or tens of thousands of people. To me, that's an absolute miracle. To be able to turn your deepest grief into joy and a blessing is something I just couldn't get my head around. But I did it. I did Ainsley's Angels. And then I got a call from Tom asking me to join this tour before the first tour. And it filled me with, yes, fitness with a purpose. I'm in. So I joined Tom, and he couldn't have known. He didn't know at the time that my mother committed suicide. So we had that conversation. During the planning of this ridiculously seriously and pervasive topic, one of our mutual friends from high school in his 50s, during our planning of the first tour, committed suicide. And it became really real. Like, this is not something that happened. It's not something that happens to other people. It's happening right now under our nose. And these are people that are in our phones, the people who are doing that. So it's everywhere. During the presentation of that first year that we did this tour, I might as well have been, I remember where I was sitting in the back. And I might as well have been at my mother's funeral as a 9-year-old boy in the front row, just absolutely reliving everything all over again. This is how we're going to start a 100-mile ride with that much emotion. So that invocation, that time that we spent together in the morning was so impactful to me. It was so meaningful as we honored people that we knew collectively who were not there to celebrate with us. So we got on the road and started riding. I was underprepared anyways. It is what it is. I have a tendency to borrow Tom's bike, and the bike that I borrowed, because I'm making excuses right now for all you cyclists, Eric and Tom, just so you know. Tom's bike he had it when he was in his 20s. So he had really strong legs, stronger than now anyways, and he had smaller gears, which means I couldn't climb very well. These are all excuses and I get it. At mile 73, I was toasted, but that's where the start of Mount Cube was. It was a 7-mile incline. And 2 people came back, Phil Peck and Mark Van Vliet came back to coach me and pace me up. What they couldn't see was in between their coaching sessions, I couldn't speak. So I had my white glasses on and I was weeping behind my glasses as I thought of very specifically on that 7-mile ascent, Dwayne and Joel Hartz. They weren't with us. They would have loved to have been us, but it was all I could do to get up that climb. And an idea crept into my head during that 7-mile climb. And by the way, if you're 7 miles an hour, that was about an hour's worth of just climbing. An idea crept into my head that this is hard. And these are 2 world-class people who dropped back and were pulling me up this mountain. They were just talking, coaching me, cheering me on, just like little. And it was like, wow, these are world-class people. This is hard. And we're doing things for the right reason. And this idea began to ruminate. And they got me over the top of that 7-mile climb. By the way, one of the pictures up there was the Mount Cube at the top. So we got over it. But when you're in these events, an endurance event, it gets really raw sometimes, and the emotions are right below the surface. But we finished and it was a great success. I love everything about it. Smiles everywhere. It was an accomplishment our first year. But something just still wasn't exactly right. All the puzzles pieces didn't fit until last fall when I took my coaching lesson, personal coaching from a friend of mine, Derek Nycom, who got me to really do a deep dive into why I do what I do. And this is what came out of that. And this has all been growing for 47 years. I do hard things with world-class people to help those in need, so that those in need have an advocate. I am my mother's advocate. I'm Joel's advocate. I'm Dwayne's advocate. I'm Gretchen's advocate. I'm Glenn's advocate. I'm Bill's advocate. I'm Tony's advocate. Roger's advocate. And there's so many more. I'm honored to share my gift of fitness and to be surrounded by these guys and this team for this reason. I don't know if there's anybody who loves to ride as much as I do, who's been so touched by suicide, who has this much. This is it. This is my purpose. This is why I'm here. It's taken me 47 years after my 9th birthday to figure out why I'm on this planet. This is why I'm here. There's no place that I'd rather be. There's no one else I'd rather be talking to. This is it. This is it. It's crystal clear. So my life now makes sense in the craziest way with so much purpose. There's zero ambiguity. And I can't thank Tom enough for making that call to me to invite me to be a part of this team, because I'm right where I need to be. So Tom, I appreciate it. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob, for sharing. And yeah, when I made that call, I had no idea of that part of Rob's history. I think I was calling him actually to just ride. I wasn't even thinking that he would necessarily end up working with us on the team. And then he's like, I know you're not paying anybody. This is 100% volunteer. I'm coming aboard and you can't fire me. And I'm like, it just so happens we need a vice chairperson and a chief technology officer. And you know, believe me when I say that nobody is more passionate than Rob, and you know, he gets stuff done. And you know, nothing will get in his way of making sure that, you know, we're successful here. And love you too. And it's great to have you on this team.
Thanks, Tom.
So we'll continue with the presentation now. I've got several more slides, and then I'm going to turn it over to Eric to bring us home. But in terms of the event history, so our inaugural year was 2022, as we were emerging from the pandemic. And you know, my idea was to do 3 days and 300 miles because I had done an event like that. But frankly, it was too many days, too many miles. Most people for a charity ride are more interested in a one-day event with multiple options. We did have about a dozen people do all 3 days. And at the last minute, we said, we'll do one-day registrations for a Century Ride, and we got 40 people to sign up. And that year, we were able to get about $10,000, including in-kind donations, towards supporting NAMI. And then last year, we'd learned our lesson a bit in terms of the length of the ride. So we did a one-day event with 3 different distances, and we get 120 registered cyclists. So a much bigger event. And we were able to, like on the check, I think it said 26,000, but there was still some coming in after that. So we've been able to contribute over 28,000 in NAMI, plus substantial in-kind donations that were used to support the tour. And then this year, we're planning an additional one-day event, and we're expecting 240 to 250 riders. We want to cap it out at that number because we want to make sure we've got a really high-quality experience for the riders and sponsors and volunteers. And we're stepping up our goal in terms of fundraising. We're going to target $100,000 this year. We definitely feel like we've got great momentum, and if we don't hit 100 this year, it will be next year. We have the right trajectory. We've got the right plans in place to make this happen. And Eric will talk a bit about the revenue streams that we're looking at. So in terms of the 4 distances that we're offering, we've got a 26, 43, and 106, which is very closely aligned with what we did last year, but we're also adding one that's 65 miles. We wanted to do one that was at least 62. 62 is a metric century, and that's a pretty standard offering in a lot of cycling events. A lot of people like to do that sort of distance. So each group is going to have captains. Each group will have a SAG vehicle, which stands for Supply and Gear, so very well supported. We've got planned stops throughout the course, about every 20 miles, and more frequent for that shorter distance course. The state police are going to support us again this year. And again, I can't emphasize how wonderful they have been to work with us. You know, as soon as I brought it up to Jay LaPointe, who runs the motorcycle unit, he's like, if you're doing this to work on better mental health in New Hampshire and you're going to support NAMI, we're there for you. They know how critical this is in our state and really across all states. So each group starts at a slightly different time, about 15-minute intervals, and that's to allow for a little separation on the road as well as rest stops. And here we've got an overview of what the rides actually look like. So I'll take you through the first one in a little bit of detail, and then can run a little quicker on the next ones. But we're going to be starting at Holderness School. We ride through Plymouth and Rumney, out to Wentworth, up to Warren, and this is the first 20-mile break. Then we continue on 25 out to Haverhill and down to Piermont for our second break, another 20 miles or so, or 22 miles. Then we continue down either Route 10 or River Road in the Connecticut River Valley through Piermont, Orford, Lyme to Hanover, coming back up to Lyme where we have lunch at Stella's, really wonderful lunch, nice atmosphere. continue up 10 to Orford, and then we go over Mount Cube. So that's that picture that you saw here and the 7-mile climb that Rob mentioned. We all kind of congregate on top, and then we take off down the hill. We get to fly down this hill back into Wentworth, back through into Rumney. It's a huge day in Rumney. They have their old home day there, so there's all sorts of activity going on. And then back through Plymouth and to Holderness School. So it is really an epic ride with all sorts of beautiful views. The scenery is fantastic. We maximize this to have really like the best views with the least amount of traffic possible. And then the 65 miler is essentially the same route out to Warren, but instead of going all the way from Warren to Haverhill, there's a cutoff that we take to bring us back to 25C, and we get some nice hills there so that this group can experience some painful hills as well, but people like that actually. And then back down to Warren, where we'll have another break, and then same loop back to Holderness School. For the 2 other rides, these follow that same route out to Warren for the 43-mile group. They'll have their break there. Then they'll have another opportunity for a break in Rumney, and then back to Holderness School. This is really, it's a challenging ride too. 43 miles is a good distance, but obviously, more achievable, takes a little bit less training. And also I would add that this particular route does not have a lot of hills. The first 2, you've got some hills. This one is relatively flat. And then we've got our 26 miler, which could even be shortened if somebody felt like doing a little bit less. So starting at Holderness School, you could just go out to the Rumney Common and back and make it about 20 miles. Or you go a little bit deeper into Rumney and do this lollipop loop, come back to the Commons, take a nice little break, and then head back to Holderness. So we've essentially got something for everybody. We've got really, really challenging long rides for people that want to be challenged. And then we've got some shorter rides for people that don't want to, take on that kind of all day pain. And regardless, it's going to be very well supported. We've got plenty of beverages and hydration. We've got people who are able to do any minor mechanical repairs if you get a flat tire or, something like that. We're really very, very well supported on the ride. And of course, safety is a super important thing that comes first. And so we do have like a safety briefing for each group to talk through some protocols that will make everybody as safe as possible. There is some inherent risk, obviously, in riding bikes, but we want to try to minimize that just as much as possible. So talking about safety and getting people familiar with basic protocols to make things as safe as possible is important. We also take out insurance from USA Cycling and Clark Insurance for our board. We will have at least one first aid kit and someone designated to render first aid if necessary. Again, each group will have a SAG vehicle, which stands for support and gear, following behind. And then we do have all riders or guardians in the case of kids under 18 signing waivers to participate in the event. We did have kids as young as 14 years old last year. I mean, really, the bottom line as a parent just needs to evaluate, is my kid physically able to do this, and are they cognizant of safety being an important aspect of this ride. But we had several kids doing it, and they had
think we may have lost Tom. Looked like he was frozen and might have had some technical difficulties.
I do
Eric, it
have
looks like
the,
you're up.
Yeah, if you've got the slides, Michelle, if you want to put those back up while Tom's trying to get back on, I can jump in.
that'll give me just a second.
Right. Well, while everybody's waiting, I'll kind of pick up where Tom left off. And talking a little bit about the event. When we get the slides up, we can kind of continue a little bit more. So my name's Eric Skinner. I'm the Chief Financial Officer and the sponsorship sales lead for the team. I've got a strong business background, real entrepreneurial spirit. So I kind of use that to kind of keep us organized as an entity, make sure that we're staying legal, getting our nonprofit status in place, and just make sure that we're highly effective spreading awareness, and also we're doing a good job on our fundraising. So as we I'd like to wait till we get the slides back up so you can visualize a little here. I'll give you a quick how do we all get involved in this kind of stuff? How's a guy that just is a businessman doing mental health? I don't know anything about this stuff. Our daughter during the pandemic was not doing well, had some really dark times, and I just met Tom at an event where he was talking about this 300-mile crazy ride he was doing that was benefiting and making awareness for mental health and suicide awareness. So it really struck home for us. Through our daughter's path through that, we saw some real holes in services and not being able to find providers. And when you have somebody that's questioning suicide, really having mental health struggles, not being able to get a therapist or be able to even talk to the public or their friends about this for 6 to 8 weeks just isn't a good deal. So that for me was a motivator. So, what can I do? So enter Tom, and he's a heck of a leader and a great man that collect up people and put us to work. So jumped into the highs and lows tour. Some of the biggest things, if you want to go to the next screen, Michelle, that'd be great.
Great. I wasn't sure where you were at.
I don't know where I'm at either. So
Can you
picking up where
Is that a
Tom
good
was-
spot?
Yeah, that's perfect. So picking up where Tom was at. So we've learned a few things in the past, and we really are stretching to make sure that we're putting on a very good event. That is the primary. We want to make sure people are having fun, enjoying themselves, and safe, and we want to include different people. So we've structured some of the entry fees to be discounted for students, for first responders, for veterans, things like that, just to name a few. So we do have a few people on the board that are involved in their veteran outreach. There's a lot of statistics on that I won't get into now, but it's a community that really needs support. So we're really trying to leverage what we're doing to spread that awareness through that community as well.
And Eric, if you don't mind, can I jump in for 2 seconds on this?
Please do.
Very specifically, we're looking for affinity programs that we can develop, and then develop the programs and then find other affinity groups that we can roll this out to. So this year is the first year we're rolling out the veteran outreach program, but there are certainly limitless other outreach programs that we can do based on this. So we're looking for, the participation as a cyclist, as a volunteer, or as a fundraiser, as sponsors. But we're starting this year with one, but the goal will be eventually to have, 5 or 6 different outreach groups or affinity groups. And this is one that's just a natural inclination based on our peer group that we have. So we're kind of watching to see how this goes, and we'll make adjustments next year and roll out some other affinity groups and outreach programs.
Michelle, are you able to see me?
Yep.
Okay. Because I don't think Eric was. I'm sorry, I got kicked off for a minute.
That's okay. I can see you.
Tom, we were just finishing up the veterans. If you want to pick up on the campus benefits and keep rolling, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll do that. I know that we're running very, very short on time, so I'll go through this relatively quickly. We are partnering with Holderness School this year. We've got 3 partner schools overall: Plymouth High School, Proctor Academy, and Holderness. And Holderness has very graciously offered up their campus for us to host the event. Huge benefits in hosting it at Holderness. Ample parking. They have a dining hall that holds over 300 people, so we'll be able to hold our morning event there. They've got built-in AV, they've got bathroom facilities. We'll also bring porta potties on site, but it's just a phenomenal space. They've got lots of green space, as you can see in this shot right here, for outdoor activities, and we'll outline what the post-event is going to look like, where we'll be taking advantage of that. And it's just a great community that supports our cause. So if you can go to the next one. So a basic overview for our timeline for the weekend is we've got packet pickup on Friday afternoon, the 9th. And then Saturday morning, we'll continue with the packet pickup and breakfast. And at 7:30, we begin our morning program, which is really a very special time. And I'll break that down a little bit further in a second. And then we'll start the rides at 8:15. Groups are going to arrive back to Holderness for a fantastic post-event community, if you will, where we'll have kind of a party celebratory atmosphere, and then we'll wind down the event by 6 p.m. This particular image is out between Warren and Haverhill on Route 25 near Mount Moosilauke. Really wonderful views. Michelle, if you could go to the next one. So this is essentially our pre-ride program. Apart from the packet pickup and the breakfast, we've got something that we believe is really special that helps set this event apart. We'll have a nice welcome message, followed by inviting Kristen Welch up to introduce the NAMI speaker. This year we have Michelle Thompson, who is the survivor of parental suicide, to talk about her lived experience. And then Eric will present what we refer to as the big check to NAMI with the proceeds, an estimate of the proceeds that we will have at that point. And when I say the big check, I literally mean the big check. Eric goes out and gets something that's about 3 feet long so that it's highly visible. We'll get a picture with our sponsors and the state police and the local police. And then we'll have an invocation, which is a fancy word for like a blessing or a prayer that not everybody needs to participate in. But I think a lot of people find that having a good grounded spiritual connection is helpful for their overall mental health. And so we'll have that as an offering prior to the national anthem, which we've had this the last couple of years, and people just love it. It's such a fantastic patriotic feeling as we get out there on the road. And so I'm going to turn it over to Eric on this next slide, but just want to say what a huge asset Eric has been for the team. He does everything. As our CFO, he's obviously managing the funds, but he also sells sponsorships. He gets insurance for the event. He has through his law firm got them to set up our LLC and now the 501c3. He's just done a tremendous amount and is a phenomenal partner to the team. And so with that, I turn it over to you, Eric.
Thank you so much, Tom. I think we're officially over time. What do we have for time, ladies? None?
Yeah, it's okay. The next session won't start, our closing session won't start till this one's done. So we just hope that everybody will, when you're done, we'll go over to the closing session.
Yes. All right. I'll try and be brief and truncate a little bit of this. So I want to thank everybody for coming out, learning about us, learning about NAMI and all the incredible work that they do. So let me just do, a post-ride event. So really quickly, what we found from the first year that Tom and his cronies were doing this 300-mile Superman ride, we said we need to have more inclusivity. So we opened up the different rides, but really what I felt like we were missing was the rest of the community. If you're not a cyclist, you're not involved. So we started this post-ride community event. You don't have to be a cyclist. You don't have to have a family member that's a cyclist. You don't have to have any affiliation. You just want to come out and have fun. That's what this is for. So this is our first year. We're going to have live musicians. We'll have raffles for 50-50 raffles, cycling gear, food trucks, plenty of games, cornhole, bouncy house. We're going to have a little trike race. Maybe if we're getting crazy, we might have an adult trike race. You never know what could happen. So main thing is we're trying to open this up to get that conversation going. And yes, this is the CFO talking. Our main mission is to spread awareness, even more so than money. So if you do nothing else, start that conversation, come to the event, be around the people that you want your community to be. So let's skip to the next one there. So really quickly, revenue streams, and I'm gonna gloss this a little bit for time, but our registrations for our riders cover most of what our event our costs. What really makes infills the rest are cash contributions from sponsors corporately, family foundations, individuals, anything from $100 to $10,000. That's where it all hits the pavement. We get a lot of donations for in-kind contributions. Hannaford's, The Common Man, we're incremental in feeding everybody. Again, if you're out there and you're saying, hey, I want to do something. I don't have cash, but man, I got a load of bananas coming in a truck next week. Give us a call. So there's a million ways to do that. We're also interested in partnering with other individuals, companies that will enhance our events. We have a professional photographer that's covered a couple of the Olympics, and he's going to be there this year, selling very, very discounted professional photographs that support NAMI as well. So there's a lot of ways to do that. As a rider, one of the things that we did open up as well monetarily is similar to some of the other fundraisers out there, like a Pan Mass Challenge, which is a massive bike race. They require a massive amount of fundraising. What we're doing is once you sign up, we're asking each participant to do a minimum of a $250 fundraise. You don't have to do it, but we're hoping that you see the passion. We're hoping you get excited for what you're going to do. And we hope if you've only ridden 25 miles that maybe you step into that 40 mile and you go to that rich uncle and you say, hey, Unc, what do you say? Will you support me in this? So that's what we're kind of hoping for to really further our mission with this. Let's jump down to the next slide here. So these are a bunch of our sponsors from last year. We're getting more and more. If you're out there and you own a company, we're nonprofit, so it's a direct write-off on that. There's a lot of companies out there that will match donations as well. So ask the question of your the boss or whatever it may be. Let's jump to the next one. So some of the things that we're doing that are kind of fun for the participants as well is we provide a cycling jersey. Now this is an image of what we're starting with for this year. We pick different colors each year that represent different things of awareness that we're trying to go after. So right now you'll come away with a nice cycling jersey. If you fundraise and you can kind of tier up, you can get some gloves, you can get some bibs. So if you got two rich uncles, you might actually get more swag in there too. So we can play with that. We've got some limited edition purple socks. Everybody loves purple socks. So these will be sold on our website and also at the event. Again, all nonprofit charity-based stuff. All right, let's jump to the next one. I'm going fast here, folks. Keep up. So call to actions. What we would love to see you do. If any of this is resonating with you, jump in as a sponsor. We got a big old donate button on our website. Jump in there. $10 makes a difference. 10,000 makes a difference too. Do what you can. Come as a volunteer. If you're like, I don't know about this cycling stuff. Those guys are crazy. Who cares? Come to the event. Have some fun. Volunteer. See the bunch of kids in and out of the bouncy house. Come as a rider. Talk to those rich uncles. See what you can do. That's the CFO talking to you. Sorry. We're just, plain old come to the community event. the big thing that we're trying to make sure that we do is open dialogue to friends, families, colleagues, everyone. We're no longer in the age where real men don't cry. We're to a point in our society where we need to talk about these things. The conversations that I've had just in talking about sponsorships and getting riders here, I've been amazed at how much people have broken down and talked about their troubles and have come out of that conversation in a very positive way. So last piece, and I'll move on. Like us on, go back one more, Michelle. Help us spread the word. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Get to us, spread us to your network. Like us, we're really good people, I promise. And see what you can to kind of help us spread this word. That's all I've got. And sorry for the speedy finish here, but thank you guys so much. And if you have any questions, if there's time, we'll answer them.
Michelle, I know you need to hop off to start the other session, so I can take it from here. You go ahead and take care of that.
Great, thank you. Thank you, guys. It was awesome.
Thanks, and we'll be right over as soon as we're done.
Perfect.
We probably have like maybe a minute for questions, and then we need to direct people over to the closing session. But does anyone have any questions for Tom, Eric, or Rob? Oh, we have a question from Lori Foster. Lori, do you want to put your question in the Q&A? Or I'm not sure. Hang on. I'm not sure how to do this here. All right. Leslie Robbins says, thank you. This all sounds amazing. Sorry, Lori, I'm trying to figure out how to let you talk here. All right, well, if you can put your question in the Q&A, that would be great, Lori. Any other questions before we head over to the closing session? Fantastic presentation, says Pat Moriarty.
Thank you.
Well, I put the link to the Highs and Lows Tour website in the chat. So all of the ways that Eric and Rob and Tom outlined for how you can get involved with this amazing group are you can find a lot more out at their website. And just thank you all so much for being here today, for sharing your stories and sharing your why. We are truly so very grateful to you for all that you've done for NAMI New Hampshire. You're part of the NAMI New Hampshire family. You're stuck with us, so we're very grateful to you. So everybody, if you want to hop on over to the closing session, and we'll finish up the conference. Thank you.